Hello, all. Katie Robertson here, and I am a specialized instructional facilitator for assistive technology, and I am here with
Dr. Debbie Schwind, OT in Loudoun County Public Schools. And we are going to be talking today about using UDL for reading, writing, and math. So UDL and ABC is our presentation. Okay, here we are, UDL and ABC. And this is a bit.ly that you can scan to get all of our handouts. I would really highly encourage you to do that because there are a lot of active links in the presentation that you will want to go to later. So one of the reasons Katie and I are doing this presentation is because we do get a lot of questions about accessibility, especially when it comes to reading, writing, and math. There's a lot of different ways that students can present their knowledge and show us what they know other than handwriting. And hopefully after today, you will leave with more tools in your tool belt. So as an OT, it's always fascinating to me to talk to teachers about different accommodations for students with handwriting difficulties. Because when we have a student who has a physical disability, we can give them wheelchairs and walkers. If they have a hearing impairment, we will allow them to have hearing aids or use sign language. If they have a visual impairment, we may teach them Braille, give them glasses, do high contrast, maybe even give them a mobility cane. If they have speech deficits, we may give them AAC devices, FM devices. We may encourage signing using pictures. But when we have a fine motor impairment, what do? We keep drilling handwriting, and we're not providing them with other alternatives to pencils. And we really need to make sure that our students who have difficulty with handwriting have these other options as well. So if they have difficulty with handwriting, it is a barrier. Just like if they have speech deficits, it is a barrier. So we want to come up with alternatives so that they can participate and be successful and perform in the classroom. This is Universal Design for Learning. Many of you are probably familiar with this framework, but it promotes access to curriculum for all students. So how can we change the way we are presenting information so the student may be more engaged with the lesson? Or how can we promote access to materials by representing the material differently, maybe by using symbols or different text or different fonts or colored backgrounds or decreasing the visual clutter? And lastly, this last column that this presentation is really focused on is how can the students demonstrate their knowledge with their strengths and needs in mind? These are some quotes about UDL, but the UDL framework really optimizes teaching and learning for not only students with disabilities, but also students with limited English proficiency, communication differences, literacy levels. It helps mitigate social injustices because it does promote better accessibility and community participation, and it really encourages accessibility for all. I know everyone is very familiar with the multi-tiered system of supports, but UDL is a tier 1 intervention. Any student can demonstrate their knowledge in different ways other than performing handwriting. So Katie and I will be showing you a lot of examples today, and hopefully one of them resonates with you. As a tier 1 intervention, again, all students are able to use Universal Design for Learning. Everyone is also very familiar with Bloom's taxonomy, and there have been some teachers who have stated that using digital resources is a cheat. It makes it easier. But using technology for some of our students promotes access and provides access. So I asked them, is using glasses a cheat? Is using Braille for a student who's blind a cheat? Is using a wheelchair a cheat? No, of course not. Using technology allows some of our students to be successful and to be able to access the curriculum. So we want to make sure that all students are able to access the course content. And using technology also increases the level of difficulty because there are more steps to remember. So it's not easier for them to be using technology. And it also does require more planning in order to complete a project. And this is just a slide showing feedback from some of our elementary school students at Cedar Lane. And they actually stated things like, I want less worksheets. I want to have more choice. I want to have more creativity in my assignments and the way I show my knowledge. So again, this is from elementary school, and this just kind of sums up and simplifies what they were saying. And really what they're saying is they want UDL. So that's just something, again, to think about. It is individualized. One way to allow students to start making choices and deciding how they want to demonstrate their knowledge is by using choice boards or playlists so that our students can demonstrate their knowledge using their strengths. This promotes confidence, gives them control, promotes self-advocacy, and really does show their strengths. This is just a sample choice board from a middle school student who had difficulty with handwriting answers on worksheets and essays. He actually was a student with Down syndrome and was taking courses in middle school that were in Gen Ed classes. But he was having a difficult time handwriting on the worksheets and handwriting essays. In fact, if he was given a worksheet, he would write in one answer. He would not write in sentences. And many times the answer did not go along with the question. So we started having him do Google Slides. And what we noticed is that he was writing in sentences, writing in paragraphs, pulling in pictures, demonstrating more knowledge because he was more engaged, he was prouder, and he could demonstrate his knowledge in his own way. And he was very successful like that. This is another sample choice board. This was also for a student in middle school who could not read. So her choice board is full of visuals, and she was able to navigate this because of the visuals. She was a student who could not read, so as a result, she also could not write. She could not complete a worksheet on her own. Again, UDL is a tier 1 support. So we started having her demonstrate her knowledge using video answering, using audio recording answering, and other things that you see on here. So she was prepared for high school to complete her work. Again, she was also a student in Gen Ed, almost grade level comprehension. And this is just another choice board that I found online that, you know, a student can choose these different ways to demonstrate their knowledge. And this is one for art. So again, we cannot let handwriting and drawing get in the way. They can show their knowledge in other ways. So when looking for programs that you may use for your students, you will want to make sure it's something that LCPS approves, and you can find it in the EdTech catalog. So when you download your bit.ly, you can click there to find out if it is an approved program.
This is Katie speaking. As of September 26th, 2022, this is how you find out. An IFT told me that they are going to overhaul the EdTech catalog. So make sure, if you have any questions about whether or not something is approved, your IFT in your school building is an amazing resource. And so if this changes, your IFT can help you figure it out. And also, you see the little disclaimer. The entries are currently being reviewed and updated. If you're using information to guide a school level purchase, please have your school's IFT reach out to the educational technology team.